Today we're diving into real-life racing crash tragedies that left families, fans, and entire communities in shock. Let's begin with the first heartbreaking story. Incident 1. Blazing speed ends in horror. It was May 14, 2006, in Phoenix, Arizona, when Daniel Reyes, a 27-year-old professional stock car driver, prepared for a regional racing event at Desert Valley Speedway. He had arrived early that morning with his fiancée, who sat nervously in the stands, clutching a small good luck charm he had given her. Daniel was confident, smiling as he waved to the crowd, completely unaware of the storm that fate was about to unleash. As the green flag dropped, Daniel accelerated aggressively, maneuvering his car into second position within just 2 laps. The crowd roared with excitement. His car was performing beautifully, hugging the corners with precision. But as he entered lap 18, spectators noticed a faint trail of smoke drifting from beneath his hood. Daniel kept pushing, determined not to lose his pace. Suddenly, with no warning, his engine seized, locking up his steering. The car veered violently toward the outside wall at nearly 140 miles per hour. The impact was thunderous. Metal crumpled, sparks flew, and the vehicle erupted into flames. Gasps and screams filled the grandstands as fire spread across the wreckage. Track officials scrambled, waving red flags as emergency crews raced onto the asphalt. Daniel was trapped inside, struggling as smoke filled the cockpit. His fiancée collapsed in the stands, screaming his name as rescuers fought to extinguish the blaze. Paramedics worked frantically, pulling Daniel from the mangled car and rushing him to the infield medical center before transferring him to Phoenix General Hospital. Doctors attempted every measure, but the burns and internal injuries were catastrophic. Just 2 hours later, Daniel was pronounced dead. The community was shattered. Fans left the speedway in silence, the joy of racing replaced by grief. Investigations revealed that a small oil leak had gone unnoticed, leading to catastrophic engine failure. Safety officials later admitted that while his car met minimum standards, newer protective upgrades might have given him a chance. Within days, candlelight vigils were held at the track. His fiancée spoke tearfully about his passion for speed and the dream he died chasing. Daniel's story spread across national racing forums, serving as a painful reminder of the razor-thin line between glory and tragedy in motorsports. Incident 2. Rain-soaked track turns deadly. It was October 3, 2011, in Silverton, England, when 22-year-old Liam Carter, a rising Formula 3 driver, lined up for what was supposed to be the highlight of his career. Rain had been falling steadily since morning, and the track glistened under the gray skies. His father, who had been his mechanic since childhood, watched anxiously from the pit lane, raincoat zipped tight, silently praying for his son's safety. The race began cautiously, cars sending up fountains of spray as they fought for visibility. Liam's natural talent shone through as he climbed steadily into the top 5. But halfway through the race, the drizzle intensified into a downpour. Warnings were radioed in, but Liam, ever determined, pressed forward. As he entered the notorious Beckett's Curve, disaster struck. His tires lost grip, hydroplaning across the slick surface. The car spun uncontrollably, colliding with another vehicle before skidding violently into the barriers. The impact bent the guardrail outward, shattering carbon fiber and sending debris across the soaked tarmac. Marshals rushed in, waving red flags and signaling medics. Liam was unconscious, trapped by the twisted cockpit. His father sprinted from the pit, restrained by officials as emergency crews worked desperately. Paramedics cut through the wreckage and airlifted him to London General Hospital. Doctors fought for hours, but his head injuries and internal trauma were too severe. By nightfall, Liam's death was announced to a devastated racing world. The racing community mourned deeply. Fans posted tributes, fellow drivers placed helmets on the barrier where he crashed, and his father released a statement calling for stricter wet weather protocols. Investigators later ruled that the race should have been suspended earlier, a painful oversight that cost a young man his future. To this day, the Silverton Curve is remembered not for its challenge, but for the young driver whose life ended there. Liam E.'s story became a sobering reminder that no amount of talent can overcome nature's unpredictable hand. Incident 3. Crowd watches shocking high-speed crash. It was July 8, 1998 in Daytona Beach, Florida, when 34-year-old Marcus "The Bullet" Harris, a seasoned stock car racer, entered what was expected to be his final professional race before retirement. His wife and 2 children waved proudly from the stands, excited to see him close his career on a high note. From the opening laps, Marcus was fierce, slicing through the field with his trademark aggression. By lap 50, he had the lead, his car roaring down the straightaway at nearly 180 miles per hour. The crowd cheered, but tension grew as rival drivers pushed hard behind him. On lap 62, disaster unfolded. A slight nudge from another competitor sent Marcus's car into a spin. The vehicle flipped violently, rolling end over end across the infield. Each crash onto the ground shook the track until finally the car landed upside down, crumpled and still. The silence that followed was chilling. Thousands of fans stared in shock, waiting for movement that never came. Safety crews rushed in, flipping the car upright and pulling Marcus free. Paramedics worked desperately, but he had suffered massive trauma to his chest and spine. Within minutes, he was pronounced dead at the track. The aftermath was devastating. His children cried in the stands, comforted by his wife, who later said he died doing what he loved. The racing world demanded stricter rules on aggressive bumping at high speed. Within a year, new regulations were introduced, forever changing how cars could draft and overtake on superspeedways. Marcus's tragic final race became etched in racing history, remembered not for the victory he sought, but for the sobering lesson his death forced upon the sport. Incident 4, Rookie's first race, ends tragically. It was March 21, 2019 in Melbourne, Australia, when 19-year-old Ethan Williams, a rookie touring car driver, strapped into his vehicle for his first ever professional competition. His parents had flown in from Sydney, thrilled to witness his long-awaited debut. Ethan was buzzing with nerves and excitement, living the dream he had worked toward since childhood. The race began smoothly, with Ethan cautiously holding a midfield position. But as laps ticked by, his confidence grew. On lap 11, he attempted an ambitious overtake along a tight corner. The maneuver was mistimed. His car clipped the rival's rear bumper and ricocheted into the outer wall. The impact sent his vehicle airborne before slamming back onto the asphalt. The crowd gasped as debris scattered across the track. Marshals waved red flags frantically while medical teams rushed in. Ethan was motionless inside, the roll cage bent and compromised. Crews worked with hydraulic cutters to free him, but time was against them. He was rushed to Melbourne General Hospital, where doctors battled to stabilize him. Tragically, he succumbed to severe internal bleeding hours later. His death stunned the racing world. Fans who had cheered for the rookie now lit candles and placed flowers outside the track gate. Officials launched an investigation, citing inexperience and poor judgment, but also highlighting the need for stricter training and mentorship for young drivers. Ethan's story struck especially hard because of his youth, a life brimming with potential, cut short before it could truly begin. The following season, the league introduced the Williams Rule, requiring all rookies to undergo extended safety training before their first professional start. Though his career ended in tragedy, Ethan's legacy ensured that future young drivers would race under safer, more cautious guidelines, protecting others from sharing his fate.